It's easier today to not have imposter syndrome. We come up to them, ask them basic ass questions to a room, and I literally knew nothing, and I still didn't feel imposter syndrome.
I think it's a confidence thing too.
Yeah, is that imposter syndrome because I don't know shit?
I mean,
What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Winners Club podcast, where even when we don't win, we learn, and learning is a form of winning. Guys, today's episode, we're going to talk about, diving into personal development. And if you don't know, this podcast is a business, personal development, growth podcast. And today, PJ wanted to talk about imposter syndrome.
Right, I definitely did. Yeah. Let's just hit it off. I wanted to know, what is imposter syndrome? Like, really what it is. I honestly don't know. I can't say.
I suffer from it. I'm not going to lie. Like sometimes, as we're going into bigger rooms and we're going into these networking events, I feel like I'm not like there. I feel like I shouldn't even belong in the room. And that in the sense of it is, I guess you can say, is imposter syndrome. My thing is that sometimes there's one thing to be fake and there's one thing to actually go in there confidently and, share to the world what you know. But imposter syndrome, to a sense, is like, you talk as if you done something before or you've accomplished something when you haven't done it. And I think that is bullshit. Like,
that's not imposter syndrome. That's just like straight.
Kind of like fraud.
Yeah.
But then I can kind of see how the two things kind of can
Definitely,
be very
100%
led together because, when I was selling real estate at 21 years old, let's face it here, man, I never sold an apartment building. I've never sold luxury condos, right? I just started. So yeah, in a sense, like when I was out on the appointments, I'm like, boom, I felt like I was an imposter because I'm like, I'm supposed to be this top tiered agent, but I haven't really sold anything.
Yeah.
However, what the angle that I approached it was, I didn't like claim that, hey, I've sold X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
Instead, what I would focus on was, as an agent, I'm going to be there for you and dedicate X amount of time. Nobody's going to work as hard as me. Nobody's going to spend the amount of money that I am to prove to you that I'm the right person for the job.
Yeah.
Because I'm hungry, right? Like, that's kind of what I did to curve the imposter syndrome. But that's kind of, you kind of stumped me a little bit when we were talking about it earlier before the show. I was like, man, I really don't know. But now that I'm talking about it and actually pulling in my life experience, at times when I felt like I was an imposter, what did I do? And ultimately what you do is you don't lie. You don't try to trick anybody. You just explain to them what you will do for them. Or, in this case, we're talking about business and real estate. But, if this was a dating show, you got to talk it up. You got to hype it up. You got to show up confident. You got to, focus on your strengths, not your weaknesses.
I like the way you made that approach, and I completely agree with you. I just want to dive in more, and I think that, what imposter syndrome is, to my knowledge, I think it's just...
I'm going to look it up.
Yeah, look it up.
While you talk. Yeah, go ahead.
I think what it is just, it's like a lack of confidence, right? Lack of confidence, whether on top of being that you are someone who is good, right? Something like that.
Imposter syndrome is a behavioral health phenomenon described as self-doubt of intellect, skills, or accomplishments among high-achieving individuals.
Is that it?
Yeah, so I guess, let me see.
Search up another one. What's another one?
Okay, imposter syndrome is that uncomfortable feeling you experience when you think you're unqualified or incompetent.
See, you think you're unqualified.
What are the 5 types of imposter syndrome types? Perfectionist, superhuman, natural, genius, soloist, and expert. I don't really like that one.
Yeah, that's weird. But going back to the topic, like, I think that's super interesting to the fact that imposter syndrome is lack of confidence in an area that kind of shows that you are good already. Like, for a realtor example.
Well, so look, based on that definition, the answer is, if you lack confidence, how do you gain confidence in that field, right? You're going to gain it by reading, learning, getting mentored, getting taught, getting coached. And I think doing those things can give you the confidence to like relinquish the imposter syndrome. So I tell a lot of my agents now, like, look, the beautiful thing about why you join our group, our team, is that you never have to suffer from imposter syndrome, because at any given moment, you can always bring in a more senior agent.
Yeah.
I didn't have that working when I started, because nobody gave me the time of day, right? It was much more cliquey, much more cutthroat, I think, the industry. So, again, I found my way, and there were some great mentors. I'm not saying there are not, but now in today's market, everywhere I look, everybody's helping one another, right? Like, you got YouTube, you got you can DM somebody, and you never know. Like, I always answer my DMs to the best of my ability when I have time. And I'm like, yo, I'll help you. I'll answer any questions. So you think about it, like, it's easier today to not have imposter syndrome, because there are so many things you can do, so many resources out there to give you that confidence that you need to go out there in a room full of very smart people. And, I wouldn't say be at their level, because, depending on your definition of wealth, money, like how you're going to measure things, but you could at least have a conversation with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's why we love 50 Hills, man. Like, our agents are telling them all the time, like, hey, don't have that imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Like, you never sold a 4-unit building. You never sold a multi-unit. Pull somebody in who has. There's like a handful of agents that has done it, know how to talk the lingo, and help you out.
I like that, man. I like exactly how you said that. I think that's great. I want to ask you just a question. I mean, this is just off the top of my head, but it sounds kind of like that is for someone who's like very new, like especially that you brought up your story of like being a realtor, and that was earlier in your dog days. Yeah. And what is your take on someone who has kind of been doing it already for a while, but I don't know, maybe they just haven't produced like they used to, etc. And then now they're feeling like imposter syndrome. They're like, am I really like this guy still? Like, what do you think about that, and what's your opinion?
I mean, have they actually tried doing the work?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so,
or let's say for you, let's put an example, right? Let's say you were flipping hella houses last year.
Okay, so
and then this year you slowed down,
Yeah, okay.
Like, do I have it still?
I have the basics.
Yeah.
Now, I won't claim that again, I have probably more knowledge in the field than the average person, right? Now, do I know everything that's going on? Like, for example, there's constantly new things coming out every day, right? Or new ways of doing business. So, for example, right now with wholesaling, there's something called novation. So look, I can't speak. So if I go into a room and if somebody talks about novation, I will feel like I'm an imposter, but I can because I have a bank of knowledge in that field already, I can probably pick it up very quickly.
Yeah.
You get what I mean? Yeah. So if I go into a room like that and I don't know anything about it, give me like 10 minutes or 20 minutes. I bet you I can understand it enough to actually go back and implement it.
Yeah.
Right? And that's okay to go into the room and say, hey, look, never done it before. But here's what I do know. Tell me how can I implement this? And I'll be like, okay, great. And the conversation will go on. Nobody will ever hate on you for not knowing something new. They will hate on you for wasting their time if you come up to them, ask some basic ass questions like you don't know anything about wholesaling, real estate, how to buy a property, loan contingency, appraisals, all that stuff, right? Like if you come up to like a mastermind and you ask basic questions like that, they're probably gonna be like, come on, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. But if it's like a little bit, so like what I just mentioned, like a novation or something like that, that's a little bit higher level.
Yeah.
So, hey guys, I've never done one. Can you walk me through the step? They can be like, oh yeah, no problem. Like 5 minutes. Great. Understood it.
For sure.
They won't have to sit there and be like, try to explain it to me. I'm like, dude, I'm pretty sure I'll get it.
Yeah.
So in that case, I would not feel imposter syndrome at all. It's okay to admit that you don't know something, right? And I think the older you get, the more experience you gain, and obviously the more accolade you have, you kind of go into a room and it's like, look, man, I don't have to be the smartest guy.
Yeah.
When you're young and hungry and with a big ego, then you kind of do want to be the biggest guy, and that's when you feel like imposter syndrome. But dude, I come in, I'm ready to learn. I'm the sponge. Yeah. I'm not the one that, I'm not trying to be the speaker in every single room. I want to be the listener.
For sure. I like exactly how you put it, and I think that's great advice to any of the listeners, is to always lean on, if you have imposter syndrome, you're lacking confidence, and you need to lean on your own self-confidence and, remind yourself, if you haven't done any of the work and you're a beginner, maybe you need to learn if you haven't. But if you're seasoned, maybe you need to lean on and be like, you know what? I did sell 20 homes last year. I could do that again, or I could do it more.
The other thing too, like, so for example, like I'm trying to think of an example of my personal situation where I walked into a room and I literally knew nothing, and I still didn't feel imposter syndrome. Maybe because I know who I am and what I'm worth, and that I'm, my value.
Yeah, I think it's a confidence thing too. Like I said, like you remind yourself probably every day. You're like,
so
I know what I've done.
I had a sit down with this friend of a friend. I wanted to set the lunch up because he's more in depth with AI, and I think that is the future. And the stuff that AI can do today, guys, it is freaking amazing. It can cut this YouTube video up into a different section. It can now create art. This guy created his own in a sense where it can create blogs, social media management.
What the heck?
So look, I'm not sitting here. And so during that whole meeting, it took like an hour and a half.
Yeah.
It was me asking him a shit ton of questions.
Yeah.
Is that imposter syndrome because I don't know shit?
I mean, it depends on you if you're the one who's going to call it that.
But my thing was this. I didn't come in there. I said, look, I don't know AI, but I know business.
Yeah.
And so I said, look, and he, I told him straight up from the get-go because I'm very blunt and I'm very direct. I said, I'm going to ask you all these questions. The reason why I'm sitting with you today is because I want to understand the product a little bit more and how we can do business together. And if we can't, hey, that's okay. I appreciate your time. Here's coffee, whatever, But people, I think my reputation now, people know that my strength is actually finding the business and ideas and then implementing it, right? If my passion is behind it.
Yeah.
So I sat there and I didn't know nothing. Again, imposter syndrome, right? You can call it that because I know nothing about AI. I don't even know how to barely use a computer, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but I just asked him a series of questions, and then by the end of it, I said, I think we have a business plan.
Yeah.
So that in that situation, you got to just know where your value and where it will come into play.
For sure.
And
no, I like that because that could have gone a different way too. You could have been like, oh man, like this guy's killing it. I'm not gonna pay attention. I'm just like worry about yourself. Try to do something bigger, like, and just completely disregard the conversation. But you guys could have like a amazing opportunity at the end.
Yeah,
because you held it down. Your confidence.
I mean, this guy's AI can basically pull data. It can pull numbers. It can pull everything. So imagine like that's what we're paying another third party company.
Yeah.
To do that, and if AI can do this, we basically can become a data company. That's just one way, very quickly, very easily. That's AI generated, right? So anyways, I mean, like, I think the main thing is imposter syndrome is a matter of confidence. I think we've kind of settled that.
Yeah, I think so too. What is your advice though, man? Like, what anybody who's dealing with imposter syndrome, like, what is your best advice to them?
Go out and learn more. Every time I felt insecure, every time I felt like I wasn't good enough, I just went out there and I learned, right? And I focus on self-development because it's not going to come from outside that's going to solve, this syndrome. It's going to come from within because it's a problem from within. So get better, right? Read more, learn more, get educated.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to really allow you to break free from this little hold.
Damn. I really like that, man. That was good. That was like very like nice and smooth.
Yeah, man, we're smoothing out, guys. We wing the show.
Was surprising.
We wing it, man. I want to give it to the audience raw. I want people to know that this isn't scripted. This is like from my heart. And look, maybe 5 years, 10 years from now, my ideology might change.
Yeah,
but this podcast is really cool because number one, I don't know who's listening and where your life is, and maybe this might help you. But also, this is just more for me and you to document our thoughts.
Hell yeah, man.
One day my kid's gonna be like, hey man, I'm gonna listen to my dad's stuff, and I'm gonna have we're on episode, I don't even know how many episodes of podcasts. We have a lot. 100 yet?
Yeah, I think so. I think we're almost there. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I look back, editing the podcast, and sometimes I'm like, man, like, that's cool that we're saying that. Like, I agree with that.
Okay.
What I mean?
It can come back and bite us in the butt, but I will not. But here's the thing, people. I hate when I watch like politicians. Right now, all the political campaign. They're like, oh well, he did this back then. He did that back then. I'm like, okay, but what is he doing now?
Yeah, and what is he going to do?
What is he doing now? Because you look, how I thought 10 years ago and how I think now is going to be completely is completely different.
Yeah.
And how I'm thinking now, like in my 40s might be different too. Look, how I thought before I had kids was 100% different than how I think now with kids, right?
Yeah.
So people change, people grow. Now there are always exceptions. Like I think that's my favorite thing to say on this episode, man. Like there's always exceptions to the norm, but for the most part, people change, right?
Yeah. Hey, man, regardless, everything that was said to you today, that was true stuff. That is to the date. And, hey, do it, guys.
Yes, sir, guys. Appreciate you guys. Do me a favor. Share this podcast with, like, a couple of friends who are, if you think they're suffering from imposter syndrome, just shoot this video a text and say, hey, look, give this a listen. Maybe it helps. Maybe it doesn't. But end of the day, we appreciate you guys. Peace out.
Peace.